Hi Charlie, welcome to the 58th day of my video polling experiment where I break down and analyze the LinkedIn poll that I posted last week and the close this morning. Now, normally when I ask questions that are related to economic or financial topics, I'm expecting my response rate to be less than average. My average is about 80 to 85 votes per poll, but with questions that are about specific economic and financial topics, I'm usually happy when I get 60 or 70 votes. However, last week was a completely different situation, and I'm still trying to figure out how I can replicate it in the future when I want to ask those more financially and economically specific questions. So last week's poll question was, how do you think the job market is doing right now? There were 4 answer choices: great, okay, meh, and badly. And the reason I asked this particular question last week was because a lot of news reports had been coming out about how the stock market is tanking, how unemployment isn't looking so good, and all of these metrics that you use to assess the financial health of a country are generally not looking so good. And considering that last year's election was supposed to boost the economy, there would be more business-friendly policies apparently, but a few months into the new presidential term, and things are not necessarily looking as rosy as perhaps some people would want them to look. So anyway, this poll, perhaps because it was so timely in the sense that people are starting to realize that things aren't going so well, got 153 votes. Now that is almost double my average of 80 to 85 votes per poll, and I don't think I've gotten a poll with this many votes in at least 100 days, if not more. Usually a top performing poll is one that gets over 100 votes, so getting 153 is spectacular, at least in relative terms for me. So onto the distribution of this poll. 5% of the voters said they think the job market is doing great. 18% said the job market is doing okay. 44% of them said the job market is doing meh, and 33% outright said that the job market is doing badly. Now, I'm glad to see that at least a few people still think the job market is doing great. I have to admit that is most certainly a small minority of voters, but the answer choice with the most votes was meh, with 44% of the votes, and while that's not necessarily a fantastic response, it's certainly a whole lot better than badly, because meh at least means that there is some potential for improvement, some way to navigate the situation without it going too badly. Now onto the statistics about the American job market. In February 2025, that's last month, American employers cut 172,000 jobs. However, the U.S. economy added 125,000 jobs in January and 151,000 jobs in February. Now, that's still basically a net job loss for February 2025, but at least employers are adding some. Average hourly wages grew by 0.3% in February, exactly as projected. Now, that doesn't necessarily sound like a great growth rate, and it probably isn't, but at least there is some chance of wages keeping up with inflation, at least to a certain extent. Unemployment increased slightly in February 2025 to 4.1%. Elon Musk fired 100,000 federal employees in February. However, government employment overall rose by 11,000 net due to state and local government hiring. So that's kind of interesting to note, because while Elon Musk does have a substantial amount of control at the federal level of government due to his association with the current president, he doesn't have fingers in every pie, in the sense that he has as much control over state and local government. So just something interesting to note, because there is the impression that Elon Musk is doing all of this government job cutting, but that's not necessarily the full story. So anyway, Charlie, thank you for listening to my spiel about how the job market is doing. I think you and I can both agree that the job market is if not struggling right now, it's going through a bit of a rough patch, and of course we are hoping that it gets back on its feet, that it recovers, that we keep adding new jobs, that we cut the unemployment rate, that we basically do all the things to make sure that our financial metrics look okay. Now, before I go, I will, as always, be showing you my poll as it appears on LinkedIn, just to prove that I'm not making these statistics up. Here is the poll as it appears on LinkedIn. As you can see, it got 153 votes. Meh was the most popular answer choice with 44% of the votes, but overall, the distribution did get at least a few answers in each category, which we always like to see. We like to see that each answer choice resonates with at least a few of the voters to get a more even-handed and meaningful distribution. Anyway, Charlie, thank you so much for listening to yet another poll analysis, and stay tuned tomorrow for my 59th poll analysis. I still can't believe that I've been doing this for almost 2 months, but I will certainly keep going for many more months. And thank you, Charlie, for being such an emotionally supportive cat throughout this process of scripting and filming and just trying to become a better verbal communicator on YouTube and in real life. So thank you so much, Charlie. You've been a major help, and I look forward to having us work together on more projects in the future. Have a great day, and goodbye.